Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So the class, what's the nature of Allah?
Can we say that most of Allah's essential features are laid out in Surah Al-Ikhlas?
The nature of Allah. What's the meaning of nature or the essence of Allah Azza wa Jal?
Is that in Surah Al-Ikhlas, does that describe the main features of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
There is two things when you think of Allah, two things. One of it is the essence of Allah. What does he contain, how he looks like and things. And the second one was the description of Allah Azza wa Jal. So in Surah Al-Ikhlas, the Jew came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they said to him, describe your Lord to us. Describe your God to us. And then he quoted Surah Al-Ikhlas. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. So, Ahad means, Wahid means, and Ahad means more than one. It's not more than one, but it has deeper meaning than only one. What's the other meaning of Ahad? Ahad, one of his kind, unique, one entity. Ahad. Ahad means cannot be cut into pieces. You cannot split Allah Azza wa Jalla into Trinity. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Because He is Ahad. So when you say Ahad on Ahad, you straight away declaring you're not Christian. Allah doesn't split. Allah is one entity. So Allahu Ahad means that Allah Azza wa Jal is not relying on parts as well. Ahad, one entity. So He doesn't rely on hands or legs. Although Allah Azza wa Jal said, Yadullahi fawqa aydihim, His hand on top of their hands. And then He said in another part of the Quran, telling Iblis, why you did not bow to the one I made with my own hands. لِمَا لَمْ تَسْجُدْ لِمَا خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيَّ means two hands. And Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. That heaven we built with mighty hands, plural. Plural in Arabic means three or more. So has Allah Azza wa Jal got one hand, two hands, three hands, million hands, zillion of hands, or no hands? What will be your answer? Asif, Ahmed Asif. Infinite hands. So he relies on these infinite hands. So if he is not relying on them, why to have them? You don't know. That's good answer.
To show His power. To show His power.
So he had zillions of hands to show his power?
Is there a metaphor
Metaphoric, yeah.
for His power?
Metaphoric meaning, the hand of the government. The government is mighty big one sitting in Downing Street. The hands of the police. Yeah, the hand of the law. The law is somebody there big mighty. The hand of the law means there's a power given. Certain people have that right to exercise the power and stop you from messing about. So, but never think that Allah Azza wa Jal has a hand to rely on. He doesn't have, He broke His hand. Can't say that. Although Allah mentioned it in the Quran, but He mentioned it in different ways. Like Ayn. Allah Azza wa Jal said to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِي. You've been looked after under my eye supervision. Yeah? And then He said about the ship of Nuh, تَجْرِي بِأَعْيُنِنَا. The ship is floating on the sea under our eyes supervision. So has Allah Azza wa Jal got one eye, two eyes, three eyes, million eyes, the same? Allahu Ahad, one entity. You cannot say, Allah Azza wa Jal said, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Nothing similar to Allah Azza wa Jal, yet He sees and He hears. وهو السميع البصير. He is the all hearing and all seeing. So Allah Azza wa Jal, is He thing or not? Is He a thing or not? This is a thing. I am a thing. This is a thing. So what Allah is?
Is he part of the unseen?
No, is He a thing, exist or not? Allah said in the Quran, كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه. Everything will perish, go, disappear, except Himself. He symbolized this with His face. Himself. So the day of judgment, there will be a time when Allah Azza wa Jal will get rid of everything. All the universe will perish, will go. And even Azrael will be asked to take the soul of Jibreel and Mikael and Israfil, and then he will say, take your own soul. And then there will be nothing there but Allah Azza wa Jal. And then he will say, لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ, who has the ownership today? And he will answer, لِلَّهِ الْوَاحِدُ الْقَهَارِ, to Allah, the one, the irresistible. So there were Allah Azza wa Jal and nothing there. He created everything, and the day of judgment, everything will go, will perish, disappear. كُلُّ شَيْءٌ هَالِكٌ, perish. That was difficult to understand until people went into the subatomic level and say, yeah, there's a glue there in all the atoms. If this glue disappear, then the subatom disappear. And no atom. Let's go. Allah Azza wa Jal said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُمْسِكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ أَن تَزُولَا. Allah Azza wa Jal is holding the heavens and earth from disappearing. Vanish, just nothing there. It's not like die. People die, you bury the body. But if you become halik, yahlak, kullu shay'un halikun, disappear. It doesn't exist anymore. There's no trace to you or to the universe or to galaxies or nothing. يوم تبدل الأرض غير الأرض والسماوات. A day when all the heavens and earth will be replaced by a new heaven and new earth. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ. They have never measured Allah Azza wa Jal as He deserved to be measured or looked at or considered. And the whole earth will be in His hand the day of judgment, and the whole heavens will be rolled out of existence. السماوات مطويات بيمينه, with His right arm. Has Allah Azza wa Jal got right arm? All His arms are right. In what way? Right, correct. Or right, that you have right arm and left arm. So when you look into the Quran, anything will give Allah Azza wa Jal an image to look like you, is haram. Why? Because He said, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Nothing similar to Allah Azza wa Jal. So anything come to your mind about how Allah look like, Allah is different. Why? Because لَا تُدْرِكُهُ الْأَبْصَارِ, Allah said in the Quran, no vision can encompass Allah Azza wa Jal. وَهُوَ يُدْرِكُ الْأَبْصَارِ. So no one can ever imagine how Allah looks like. You can look at this and, oh yeah, I know, I've seen one like this. You know, it's a bit longer, a bit shorter, a bit this. You see this book, yeah, I know, I've got one like this, it's a bit thicker. And I say, Ayan, and you say, Ayan, yeah, I've known somebody, it look like you, probably he's your twin brother or something. You say, you see that, he looks like Chinese. He looks like, this Eiffel Tower, it's similar to Eiffel Tower, it's too high, but a bit higher, it's called Khalifa Bridge. But you have an image in your mind to compare with a new image. But Allah has no image. How will you compare Allah? لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. He said nothing looks like Allah Azza wa Jal, equal to Allah. And وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There's nothing compete with Allah. Nothing equal in power or ability or existence like Allah. So you need to take a lot of what's in the Quran. Allah describe Himself to make it understandable to you, to understand Allah Azza wa Jal, but not to compare Him to something else. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, Wallahu bi kulli shay'in muhit. So Allah Azza wa Jal here is not there. So when people look into the universe and they say it's infinite, there's no end to the universe. How would you put Allah? If you put Him in a body, is He here or there or there? Or above the throne? Or under the throne? You can't say that. Allah in control of the throne, but He's not sitting on the throne. Means that He's sitting on the throne, and what's above Him? Is there a thing above Allah Azza wa Jal? It's haram to say that. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطٍ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطٍ. Allah surrounding everything. So, there's nothing above Allah, there's nothing under Allah Azza wa Jal. There's nothing inside Allah. Why is that? We don't know what Allah is. So is Allah fi sama? It's in the Quran. أَأَمِنْتُمْ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاءِ أَنْ يَخْسِفَ بِكُمُ الْأَرْضِ. Are you sure that the one who is in the heaven? Now, can you say about Allah, is Allah in the heaven? Can you say Allah in heaven? Allah said about Himself in heaven in a metaphoric way to make Him mighty. But if I say my pen in my pocket, my pen in my pocket, so my pocket is bigger than the pen, yeah? So is the heaven bigger than Allah? And Allah Azza wa Jal said, Wallahu wasi'un alim. So the heaven is not bigger than Allah. When you say Allah in heaven, it's to glorify Allah. But not Allah in the heaven. قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah said, say, walk throughout the earth. But we walk on the earth. How would you describe that correctly? Are we walking in the earth or on the earth? Eugene, are we walking on the earth or in the earth? On. Answer. Are we walking in the earth or on the earth? One. How many say on? Nearly all of you, except you. Why not? Why not, Harun? Are we walking on the earth or in the earth? You don't know. Good answer. You are wrong. Do you have physics in your study or chemistry? Or is there something called air, oxygen and nitrogen? Do you walk in the air or on the air? In the air. Is the air part of the earth or not?
It's not part of the solid.
But part of the earth. When you go out at space, you leave the atmosphere, yeah? And then you get into darkness. Why? Why we see the sky blue? When you go out to the outer space, it's black.
There's nothing to reflect the light.
Yeah, because the air reflects the light of the sun, and when it is too thick, it appears blue. So you walk fil ard. The Quran is correct, you are wrong. Not on earth, called siru fil ard. فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة الذين سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف بدأ الخلق. Walk through the earth because Allah correct. Allah created the earth and the air is part of the earth. So, but when you talk about Allah Azza wa Jal, it's different. Allah fi sama, but not that He is smaller than the sama and the sama is big and He is in it. It's metaphoric way to show you Allah is mighty and high. Glorify Allah Azza wa Jal. Wallahu wasi'un alim. Vast, and He is knowledgeable of everything. And Allah Azza wa Jal, لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار وهو اللطيف الخبير. No vision encompasses Allah Azza wa Jal, but He see all people, and He see what you see. وهو يدرك الأبصار. Allah sees what you see. Allah Azza wa Jal closer to us than our jugular vein. وهو أقرب إليه خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد. He's closer to you than your own jugular vein, but He's not inside you. But He's more closer to you than you closer to yourself. You don't know what's going on in your chest or heart or kidneys or brain, but Allah knows. Allah knows. He's closer to you, know what's going on in your brain than you. How Allah can do that? How Allah can read all our thoughts at the same time? A question to you, Ayan. But how can He read all the thoughts at the same time? Zakaria. Because Allah is infinite. They asked the same question outside time. But that's, He reads the future, you mean. Outside time, He needs the future. He knows what's going on in the future.
Because Allah created us.
Because Allah created us. They asked Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said, how Allah Azza wa Jal judge everyone at the same time?
Because He provides for everyone.
Because as He provides them at the same time, all of them, you all here provided with oxygen from Allah, life from Allah Azza wa Jal. All the animals across the globe provided with their sustenance at the same time. All the people on the earth and beyond. Is there people in outer space? According to Islam?
Did it describe Allah as Lord of the worlds?
Lord of the world. Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the worlds, yeah.
Yeah, so this is one world, and there could be other worlds.
Yeah, in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned that in multiple places. One of them, وهو الذي خلق سبع سماوات ومن الأرض مثلهن يتنزل الأمر بينهن. So Allah created 7 heavens and similar number of the earth, which is 7 earth. Some scholars say, 7 layers of earth. But 7 layers of earth, there is no order go between them. There's 7 earth in the universe, and the orders come from Allah Azza wa Jalla to all these earth created. And also Allah said in Surah Ash-Shura, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَثَّ فِيهِمَا. Samawat, everything above you is your sama. وَمَا بَثَّ فِيهِمَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ. So there is people, dabba, us, we are dabba. وَلِيُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ بِمَا ظَلَمُوا لَمَا تَرَكَ عَلَيْهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ. If Allah want to punish us for what we do, He wouldn't leave any of us exist, alive. And He called us dabba. Because you walk on earth. Dabba, the dubb ala al-ard. So He said there is creatures scattered in the universe, and that's one of His signs. And if He likes, He might make them meet each other. Why we cannot meet each other? There's a lot of scientists trying to think, there's an earth there, it could be. But we can't go there. Why?
Because it takes too long.
The nearest sun to us, even if that sun has an earth like our earth, the nearest sun of us take 4 light years to go there, which is converted into the speed of we achieve. If you take a spaceship at the speed of 20,000 miles an hour, it will take you 75,000 years to go there, and 75,000 years to come back and tell us what you've seen there. So how much you need food to take with you, and water, and even the solar panels will not catch enough of the sunlight to keep you going. So how much air you need to take? But can you live 75,000 years? Any of us can? Nobody lived. Even Adam lived 1,000 years only, and Nuh. So Allah is saying you can't meet them. If Allah wants us to meet them, Allah can do that. Allah can make us meet the other creatures. So Allahu wasi'un alim. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٍ. So there's nothing kufu to Allah Azza wa Jal. Nothing equal to Allah, nothing similar to Allah. How would you see Allah? How would you know what Allah is? Because nothing similar to Him. You say this in the orange. Have you seen an orange? Yes. There is something called Bemison is similar to it. There's something called apple. You squeeze the orange, you get juice. You squeeze the apple, you get juice out of it. That's similar. You come across a new fruit coming from Taiwan or somewhere. How would you describe it? You say, you've seen the banana, it's similar to the banana. Or you've seen this, you've seen that. But have you seen anyone equal to Allah to describe Allah? وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. So you can never describe Allah as an essence. You describe His actions. He is the creator, sustainer. He is the merciful. He is the holy. He is the first. He is the last. He is the hidden. He is the seen. But you can't describe Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal is Ahad, one of His kind. You can't say Allah Azza wa Jal has liver, kidneys, blood. He walk on with legs. He travel. Well, travel. How long it took you to get from the throne down to earth? Because there's a hadith. Allah Azza wa Jal comes down the third part of the night to the world heaven, and He asks, anybody wants to be forgiven, anybody wants to be helped, and until the dawn appear. So if Allah comes down the third part of the night, which means He's always around the earth, because always there is the third part of the night. Now in Francisco, it's night. In New York, it's it's around 5 o'clock now. So he must be in New York. He's going to Francisco. So he's always around the earth. When he will go back to the throne? Because some, like Wahhabi, think that Allah sat on the floor, on the throne. Like, those who read Ibn Taymiyyah, I say, he sat on the throne. So he sat on the throne. What's above Allah? You can't put Allah in a body sitting somewhere. So who's above Him? The universe is endless. So you need to take out of your mind thinking about Allah like you think about yourself. Because لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Nothing similar to Allah. Allah said in the Quran, nothing similar to Allah. To never even think about it. The Prophet ﷺ said, the shaitan will come to you and say, who created the tree? Allah. Who created the mountain? Allah. Who created the earth? Allah. Who created Allah? Then the Prophet said, you say, Amantu Billah. I believe in Allah Azza wa Jal. Stop the argument. Don't go beyond who created. Because there is Allah Azza wa Jal who is there, and everything else could be there, could be not. So how would you be there? You might be created, you might not. You were competing with probably 200 million of you to reach the egg of your mom. And you were the lucky one. You could be one of those who went to the loop, disappeared, gone. So, but Allah Azza wa Jal is always there, and He is the only one who must exist. We call in Arabic, wajib al-wujud. He must exist. Because if He wasn't there, nothing will be there. Because everything is possible to exist or not exist, except Allah Azza wa Jal. He must exist. Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ وَنَعْلَمُ مَا تُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسُهُ وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Verily we created man, human, and we know what his own soul whispered to him, and we're closer to him than his own jugular vein. I find it easier to reach Allah Azza wa Jal through my thinking of my jugular vein. So Allah closer to me than my jugular vein, then I'm with Allah Azza wa Jal. He's closer to me than my own body, so I'm with Allah. I'm now with Allah. When will you be with Allah? When will Allah mention you? It's from the Quran. فَاذْكُرُونِي. When will you be with Allah? You can't be with Allah on your own choice. Can you be with King Charles unless he invited you? Can you be with, can you enter 10 Downing Street? Not only 10 Downing Street you cannot enter. Never mind 10 and 11. And so even the human you cannot be with. How would you be with Allah?
By praying.
By praying. You're closer to Allah when you're doing what? The closest to Allah when you are in sujood. Although there is nothing between you and the earth, you are touching the earth, the ground, but you are the closest to Allah Azza wa Jal. And when you mention His name, Allah Azza wa Jal says, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. When you mention Allah, Allah will mention you. Allah with you all the time, But to be with Allah Azza wa Jal, you have to do acts to be with Allah Azza wa Jal. When you read His Quran, when you make salah, when you make sujood, when you mention Allah, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, you are with Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah will mention you. So Allah Azza wa Jal always with us, but we cannot be with Allah Azza wa Jal unless Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to be, by making you really motivated enough to pray, motivated enough to recite His name. Then Allah will mention you. يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تَخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. Allah knows what you meant by your eye movement, trying to give signals to people, get him, look at this one. And what's your chest hide, what's your brain hide. So Allah Azza wa Jal يَعْلَمُ what's inside you. He knows you inside out, like I said. So, but, so to say to you, he said that أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Doesn't he know what he created? I don't know about you, but if you meet those who build machines, like I was listening yesterday about the guy who made a semiconductor company in South Korea, in Taiwan. In Taiwan, semiconductors in Taiwan produce 90% of the semiconductors in the globe. How much produced in USA? Anybody? Semiconductors. Zero. Nothing. They allocated recently $63 billion to create semiconductors in America. Why is that?
In case China invades Taiwan.
Yeah, in case China take over, because they are saying Taiwan is part of China, and we have to take it back. Like Hong Kong now, went back to China. Hong Kong, HSBC stand for, anybody? HSBC?
Is it Hong Kong Shanghai Bank?
Corporation. So, and only in the hand of China, and they are the bank who actually make money laundering the most. Most of the money laundering made by HSBC, and neither America nor Britain managed to stop them. They fined them in Europe €1 billion fine because caught some illegal transactions, but they could not take the license from them. So very strong. If they take over Taiwan, then no cars will be on the street. No, when the corona hit and company stopped producing semiconductors, cars went sky high in price. The second hand car, why?
Because you couldn't buy new cars.
Because there were no new cars coming. No new cars, because semiconductors, you wouldn't have mobile phones, you wouldn't have machines, you wouldn't have... All our industry now run on semiconductors. And semiconductors produced by these guys in Taiwan. There's a few produced in Finland, and then now Europe brought the same company building in America, Intel. Intel is the one who started this computer things. And they're building this in Ohio, in America. They're going to build the same in Europe, because they failed the same. If there's no semiconductors coming from USA, if USA reached, because it takes time to. So, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. This guy who built the semiconductor company in Taiwan, he knows all the in and out about it. All what you need from the silicon. Amazing. The silicon you build the semiconductors is the most in existence and easy to get hold of. How much sand the Arab have? They don't produce a single semiconductors. They have all the sand in the Sahara, and the sand in Arabian Peninsula, and the sand in Nigeria, and the sand in Egypt. And you have to make a cylinder of silicone and slice it into small, tiny, little, and to put 10,000 transistors in 1 millimeter. So, the knowledge of Allah stretch ما يكون من نجوى ثلاثة إلا هو رابعهم. There's no 3 people, but he is with them. No 5 people, but he is number 6. ولا 5 إلا هو سادسهم ولا أدنى من ذلك ولا أكثر إلا هو معهم أينما كانوا ثم ينبئهم بما عملوا يوم القيامة. And he is with them, and he will tell them what they have done, what they were talking about the day of judgment. So when a question about the essence of God comes to you, when Fir'aun asked Musa alayhi salam, he said, وَمَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ? And then Musa answered him, and then he didn't answer him, مَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. مَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ means what? مَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. مَا هَذَا means
What is this? What is this?
what's it's made of, what's contained. ما هذا. If you know what I'm going to talk about, I say plastic. But if I want really to tell you what هذا, this is a plastic, and there's a lot of rubber there, and there's a lot of the name of the monsters and things, and a lot of information, whatever, and the functions of it. And when he asked him, Ma Rabbul Alameen, what he's made of, what Musa said? Rabbus Samawati wal Ardi alladhi khalaqahun. He didn't say he didn't answer him Ma Rabbul Alameen, because no one can say what's the essence of Allah. He was asking the essence of Allah, what he's made of, like. And Musa, he described what Allah does. So Fir'aun said, Inna Rasulakum lati ursila ilaykum la majnoon. Why he said majnoon? Why Fir'aun said about Musa majnoon? Because he asked him a question, he answered another question. I wasn't asking what your Lord can do. I said, what's your Lord made of? And Musa wouldn't answer that, because Allah Azza wa Jalla is not made anyway. He's always there. So he's not made. And لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, nothing similar to him. And Allahu Ahad, لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. I can describe to you what Allah told me about himself, but I cannot describe to you what Allah is. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla said, nothing similar to him. Whatever I describe him, it might be wrong, because nothing similar to him. Like Allah Azza wa Jalla said to us about شجرة الزقوم. He said, شجرة الزقوم رأسها طلعها كرؤوس الشياطين. The top of شجرة الزقوم is like the heads of shaitans. Yeah, thank you. Anybody seen shaitan? Have you seen the head of shaitan, how it looked like? He didn't. So he didn't give you an answer. He said, you've seen shaitan? It looks like the shaitan. But I haven't seen the shaitan. So it made it more difficult for me to imagine what Shajarat al-Zaqum is. So Allah Azza wa Jal, you cannot even imagine. Allah Azza wa Jal said, لا تدركه الأبصار. No vision will ever encompass Allah Azza wa Jal. وهو يدرك الأبصار. Because there's nothing similar to him. How would I describe Allah? I can't, so I don't. So Musa didn't describe Allah Azza wa Jal. He described what Allah does. So he said about him, Majnoon. I'm asking him about what Allah made of. He told me what Allah is doing. So he didn't actually understand the question. It's not Musa didn't understand the question. Musa hasn't got the answer. Because Musa doesn't know the answer. When Musa was there enough to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make him able to see Allah, what happened to Musa? What happened to Musa? You're miles away. I can't make through your brain with me. The question, when Musa alayhi salatu salam dared to ask Allah Azza wa Jal a question, and Musa, what happened to him? He dared to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to show him himself.
He fainted. Or the
Shocked.
shocked.
Yeah, fainted, himself fainted. But Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَخَرَّ مُوسَى صَعِقًا. صَعِقًا, like if you give him a massive shock to his brain, electric shock, and he collapsed. So he dared to ask, and he didn't say, he said, أَرِنِي أَنظُرُ إِلَيْكَ. Make me able to see you. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, إِنَّكَ لَن تَرَانِي, you won't see me, but look into the mountain. If the mountain stayed where it is, you will see me. فَلَمَّا تَجَلَّى رَبُّهُ لِلْجَبَلِ جَعَلَهُ دَكًّا وَخَرَّ مُوسَى صَعِقًا. When Allah Azza wa Jalla made his presence felt by the mountain collapsed. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, if the mountain stayed, Musa would have seen Allah. Yeah? When Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to the Mi'raj, they did some operation on him and they removed something from his heart or cleaned his heart, so he could see Allah Azza wa Jal in the journey. But when he was asked, have you seen Allah Azza wa Jal, what was the answer of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, رَأَيْتُهُ بِفُؤَادِي, I saw Allah with my heart. How would you see Allah with your heart? Do you see with your heart anyway? You see with your eyes. So we still back to square one. We don't know what Allah is. We don't find anybody inside that class. I want you to pick up what I'm saying. So we're back to square one. We don't know what Allah is. In Jannah, if you are lucky enough, وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. Allah will make us able to see of Him. We don't know what we will see of Allah Azza wa Jal, but you will have that when you are immortal. You will not die. You will not perish in Jannah. So back to square one. The whole class is what Allah is made of. We didn't reach any answer. And all what Allah described Himself in the Quran, it's metaphoric. Whether He said He has one eye or zillions of eyes, it's metaphoric. Allah doesn't rely on organs. Allah is one entity. Allah is Ahad. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. One of His kind. One entity. He is not occupying a space. He created the space. You don't know the space exists until Allah Azza wa Jalla created. You wouldn't know Allah created the heavens and earth, so people know there is something there. Who brought it? Allah Azza wa Jalla. So on your way out, I need to stamp the 220 at the end.